Bye for now.
There will be a light breeze in the morning, leading to a warm front. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Don't miss your chance to be one of 2 big winners in our latest Great British giveaway, as we have 2 prize bundles that have to be won. First, you'll win a totally tax-free £10,000 in cash to spend however you like. You'll also receive the very latest iPhone 16, and we'll send you on a shopping spree with £500 to spend in your favourite store. For another chance to win, text cash to 63232. One entry costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63232. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start from just £2. Call 0903 681 3232. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB11 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 6 p.m. on the 7th of March. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
Well, you know I like an auction.
Yes,
and I've bought some strange things at auction before you have as well, haven't you, Eamon?
Yeah, well, Ellie would throw this in the bin that you're coming up with now.
How about this? Admiral Lord Nelson's hair.
No.
Cut. I mean, is this a bit spooky? Cut as he lay dying during the Battle of Trafalgar, so someone's gone, oh, we'll just have a little bit of that there. In 1805, is on sale in Jersey, and it's a little cup. How much would you pay for the hair?
No, nothing. It would go in the bin, straight in the bin.
What? Even what? Nelson? That's very disrespectful to the British culture and heritage.
I think it's disrespectful that he lay there dying and someone thought, we'll take a quick strip
Well,
of hair.
maybe they just had. Maybe they thought, you know, because there's obviously the famous painting, isn't there, of the Battle of Trafalgar? Maybe they thought we'll give him a quick haircut, and then they kept their £15,000, 15 grand.
Where's
for a
the
lock of hair
come from? What part of the body?
His
is the
head,
hair from?
Eamon.
Well, it could be his underarm. I don't know. You know, it depends.
You would hold on, let me have a little look.
You would bid
very
more.
curly. I think it's his head.
It's
his head. What?
You would bid more
head.
for his head than, say, his underarm.
Well, I think so. Yeah, I would hope so. Yeah.
Or anywhere else.
I would hope so. A little less whiffy there, the head hair. And there it is. And it's in a little pot.
No.
And the only way you can probably find out is if you DNA test it, I guess. It's definitely his.
Whoever pays for that is bonkers.
Well,
That's creepy.
I was
Really
seriously tempted to make a bid for a toupee, not for me, but as worn by John Wayne.
John Wayne's wig.
Yeah.
Why?
Wow.
Why?
Well, why I didn't get it was my wife said to me, that is not coming into the house.
Well, she's right. She's right.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Hello, it's 11 o'clock, which means it's time for tomorrow's newspapers tonight. Join us over the next hour to find out, will there be peace in Ukraine? What job do we desperately need filled in the UK? And where have Nazis been playing hide and seek? I'm Josh Howie, and tonight I am joined by comedians Steve N. Allen and Lewis Schaefer. Look at those two dudes to take you through Thursday's top stories. This is Headliners. But before tomorrow's news, let's go to tonight's headlines with Tatiana Sanchez.
Josh, thank you. The top stories. US President Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin have agreed to start negotiations on ending the war in Ukraine in a telephone call today. Mr. Trump has said this evening that he expects to meet Putin in Saudi Arabia. Mr. Trump said in a post on his social media platform, "We've agreed to have our respective teams start negotiations immediately." Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has also spoken to the US President today. They reportedly discussed opportunities to achieve peace and the preparation of a document governing security and economic cooperation.
We'll see what that means. I think when the war ends, one thing he was very strong about, if it ends, he wants it to end. And that's President Putin said that. He wants it to end. He doesn't want to end it and then go back to fighting 6 months later. We talked about the possibility, I mentioned it, of a ceasefire so we can stop the killing. And I think we'll probably end up at some point getting a ceasefire in the not too distant future. President Putin wants to have peace now, and that's good. And he didn't want to have peace with Biden.
In other news, a review into the handling of the man who murdered Sir David Amess under the counter-terror programme PREVENT has found his assessments were problematic. Ali Harbi Ali, who was given a whole life sentence in 2022, had been referred to PREVENT 7 years before he killed the veteran MP in October 2021, but his case was closed in 2016. The review found the handling of his PREVENT case was suboptimal and was closed too quickly. The government promised to publish the PREVENT Learning Review after the report into Southport killer Axel Ruda-Cabana's handling by the programme was published last week. Elsewhere, the Prime Minister has told the families of those killed in the Nottingham attacks that a judge-led public inquiry will take place in a matter of weeks. During a meeting at Number 10 today, the families of Barnaby Webber, Grace O'Malley Kumar and Ian Coates were told by Sir Keir Starmer that a number of different agencies would be scrutinised by the probe. Valdo Calacane killed 19-year-old students Mr Webber and Miss O'Malley Kumar and 65-year-old caretaker Mr Coates before attempting to kill 3 other people in that attack in June of 2023. And finally, the King was told he was bigger than Beyoncé when he celebrated community projects boosted by a football stadium where the US superstar is staging her UK concerts. King Charles visited the home of Tottenham Hotspur to highlight the Premier League club's work supporting local businesses and good causes and its collaboration with the NFL, which stages games at the arena. And those are the latest headlines for now. It's time for Headliners.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Hello, welcome to Headliners, your first look at the best of tomorrow's newspapers with the best of today's comedians. Does that work? That's a new strap I'm trying out there. Best.
I mean, the closest to a compliment we've had.
The most interesting stories with the most interesting comedians, maybe?
Not take it too far.
OK, I just don't want to get in trouble with,
trading standards.
Yeah, exactly. Right, we'll give that a go. So we're going to tell some jokes, first of all, because I suspect there's going to be some new viewers watching this evening, so I should just say there'll be jokes. Please don't take anything that we say at face value. Lewis, though, you do mean everything you say, right?
I mean everything that I say, because all comedy is meaning exactly what you say at the moment you're saying it. I can't guarantee that I'll believe it the second after that I say it.
OK, well, let's get on with the front pages. First of all, we have The Guardian. Trump says he has opened talks with Putin to end the war in Ukraine. The Times, Trump and Putin start Ukraine peace talks. The Telegraph, join a terror group to stay in the UK. Lots more front pages coming up. But let's kick off with that first one there, The Guardian, Steve.
Yep, Trump says he has opened talks with Putin to end war in Ukraine.
Someone's missing there.
Actually, you think, this should be a three-way call. These days you can do that. You can just get... Can we get the other guy on the line?
No, he's like a granddad. He's like, I can't... I can't do the third one.
But, so someone's missing from the chinwag. Don't worry, there was another phone call after, which tells you the order, which tells you how this is going to go. Plus, also, there's going to be an in-person meeting between Putin and Trump. Meanwhile, Zelensky gets to meet J.D. Vance. I can tell you how this is going to pan out. This has given you all of the clues. In fact, there's a bit where a lot of this is on Trump's Truth Social. He said the war must end, and sweet mercy, we do want war to end. Of course, war could end by letting Putin win. You need to keep an eye on that. If you actually are a strong man of politics, you don't want to just let Putin win. I want to keep repeating that. But Trump said, God bless the people of Russia and Ukraine. We really are forgetting who started this.
I know. That is the thing that is, for the way that he's sort of wording it. And it is just this, Lewis, it's like the forgetting that who invaded? Who's the aggressor?
Who invaded? I was thinking who started it. America started the whole thing by messing with Russia's borders. You know what? How can you even say that it was Putin's fault? He actually was stupid by thinking he could win this thing easily.
Putin was stupid.
No, you're saying Putin was stupid. He was.
I didn't say Putin was stupid. I don't think. I think he was immoral. I think he's a bully, and I think he'll be rewarded.
I don't think so. I think Zelensky is. I mean,
Good. Yes.
The last bit was a bird impression.
That was.
I'm saying this. We don't know anything about this. All we know is that Trump called Putin. Putin's been fighting for 3 years, had tremendous losses. The Ukraine is seeing that their money pot is going. And Zelensky's thinking he's not going to be making as much money as he was because America's not going to tolerate.
He's making personal profits here, Lewis.
We do not know that, and I know you could be reticent about making a definitive statement in the future. I didn't say that. I said we don't know it, but knowing the Ukraine, which is considered to be, I have heard, I don't know, maybe it's not this way, the most corrupt country in Europe. I don't think it could be that much more corrupt than Belarus.
Than Luxembourg.
No, I don't know if Luxembourg is corrupt. Are they the ones?
Do you not worry that it sets the precedent of like, hey, you know what, it's 2025, you want a bit of land, go through it, go and get it, annex it.
It isn't that way at all. It had to do...
How not?
It wasn't that way. It was the fact that, first of all, a lot of the area that Russia has reclaimed there were Russians who were living there.
Okay, but not at the time they actually still wanted to be part of Ukraine, and it doesn't matter whether ethnically they were or not. The fact was it was a sovereign border that was agreed in treaties, and then it was invaded. Well, you can't just then reward it by going, well, here you go, well, you can just keep it now.
Josh, we're not living in 1945 at the foundation of the UN and the idea of sovereign borders and all that. We were messing with Russia. Russia was a superpower.
When you say messing, what, messing as in invading?
We were we were saying the Ukraine.
Anyway.
The Ukraine, we overthrew. I don't even know if this is true or not, but I think most
of this is true, but you're still saying.
We overthrew the United States government and all those other Barack Obama type people. We overthrew the legitimate elected president of the Ukraine, and we.
How's that? Zelensky was the legitimate.
This is before Zelensky. This is 2013, okay. And you have to remember something about Russia. They're an indefensible country. They have no ocean access. They have 4 ocean accesses, and it's like very hard for them to.
I thought you meant indefensible. A lot of people agree that Putin's indefensible on this, but not you.
Yeah,
I just think this sets a terrible precedent, and I just think that. Hundreds of thousands of lives are lost, and of course Trump's going to go, oh, Zelensky wants the war to stop, and of course Putin wants... Yeah, they want the war to stop, but then Putin essentially wins if it just finishes like it is now.
And Putin, I'm not saying he should win. I don't like Russia. I grew up in America. We did not like Russia.
Well, it's giving in to a bully.
It isn't giving in to a bully.
Of course it is. He wins.
It isn't. He doesn't win. He lost 500,000 lives.
That's not his life.
It isn't, but who knows whether he's going to stay.
He's met his aims, and a lot of people have died for it.
You know what? I refuse to go down. I am one of these people. You write me down. I'm not as against
love Putin.
Yeah, I love Putin. Okay. I don't love him, but I see what he's doing. And you know who loses in this thing? Is the left in America for basically promoting this level of unhappiness in Russia.
Wow. OK, that's an interesting take. OK, well, let's go to the Times then, Lewis. Do you have similar thoughts of passion about new towns?
Oh, my God, totally. I've got even more. When I work with you, Josh, you just inflame me with anger.
Wow.
Is that the word? That's not the right word.
The opposite of inflame.
That's not the word. And then my kid is going to send me a message on WhatsApp saying, calm down, Dad.
No, I want to hear your new towns rant.
No, it's the king. What does the king care about this beautiful, green and pleasant land? He doesn't...
He's the king!
He's not the king of this country. He's a tool of the World Economic Forum. You could believe that. And most of the people on this station love the King of England. But he's not even the King of England anymore. He's just like a representative of Team World. He doesn't care about this country. And we don't need any more new towns. This country is all about real estate development. That's the only thing there's a demand for.
We do actually actually need some real estate because we need some houses, don't we?
We don't need any houses. We just don't. We have to stop people from coming into the country.
At some point in history, things that were concrete were once green. So if you're just going to have this cut-off of going, well, we can never develop again, you can't have 3% year on year, and therefore your pensions are going to suffer. Like, if you want growth, you've got to have a bit of development. And it's not, you don't know why you're blaming the king. Sir Keir Starmer will set out plans for dozens of new towns with designs inspired by the king. As if he's not... He
basically just he wants the old Georgian-y type houses, essentially.
They're not. It's not going to... He's building 700 houses. They're going to be fake Georgian-y houses. They're going to be like tofu development. We don't need any more growth. We want the country to have...
more shrink.
Yeah. Why not shrink for a while? We don't need... We don't import millions of people.
I agree with that, but we do need... But the people that we have here, including my children, it would be nice for them to have a home one day.
Yes, and maybe they should find another country to live in.
Specifically Josh's kids? Or?
My kids, too.
I agree with that.
My kids.
Fair enough.
We don't, why let in 1 million people?
Well, Steve, I'd rather you did this story about the Nottingham stab families, please.
Well, no, but it's one of Lewis's. But, however, Sir Keir Starmer announced that a judge-led inquiry into the Nottingham attacks as he promised... So, look, we all know the story, and this is another one of these, like, the system failed. People were saying they had concerns about the mental health and the risk, and the violent risk of this person. Something should be done. Ball was dropped, and it ends up with people being killed. And, I mean, look, there's... Not that it's going to be particularly funny, but there is one bit in there where Keir Starmer says to the parents that what they've been through is unimaginable. And it says he added, I can't imagine. Does he need rebooting? Does he know that he's already said that word once? I think he's not probably...
Someone told him to say it. We had the failure of the NHS, we had the failure of the police that had multiple reports at the time of assaults and they didn't follow through. Yes, and we're seeing a lot of this institutional failure. We're seeing underinvestment from the Tory government, and then this is not Starmer's fault. This is arguably a very good thing that he's doing. We need to hold these institutions to account, don't we? And then we can see
through
what they
an
did wrong.
investigation, it's not going to lead to anything.
Well, we'll see if they put investment in the actual results.
They won't. This is one of those typical, we're going to have an investigation, it's going to last 5 years, they're going to say something that nobody will follow. People know what the problem is in this country. There's not enough prisons, and there's too many bad people. And we've got to put the bad people in prison.
OK, well, I would say the problem here was institutional failure. And they need to now fix it so we can have some trust again. Let's have a look at this Daily Telegraph. This seems to be a bit of a theme this week, the Telegraph are printing these stories. Yeah,
they found a little treasure trove, and they're doing one a day to keep the story going, but it's joined a terror group to stay in the UK.
It is treasure. I mean, it is treasure.
Yeah, a Nigerian woman who tried and failed 8 times to secure asylum in Britain was finally granted the right to stay when she said, I've joined a terrorist group. And the judge was like, oh, all right, then, come on, then.
Yeah, you did it.
Even though apparently the judge was like, you've not really. But you know what? I like your chutzpah. Come on in, come on.
Exactly.
You're going to pretend.
She said she tried before with the right to family life. She tried that she was a victim of trafficking. Yeah. And this was finally the thing. Now, Lewis, I think that the length that she has gone to, and I feel the same way with people who are like claiming that they're gay, for example, because they get persecuted in their own country. I think you deserve to stay. If you want to be in the UK so much, I want you to have sex with that dude over there, just to prove it, and then I think you should be able to stay. I think that's fair enough, right?
I think the fact...
And joining terrorist groups, the same thing.
If you want to see that, Josh, there are videos online.
I know.
Yeah,
thank you.
Maybe. Maybe if they want to stay so badly. But when you've got 1 million people coming every year, 20 million people, right now this country has a greater population than France. And so, are we going to let anybody... It's like me. Why do you let me stay? Send me home. I'm so unhappy.
She said you were homosexual.
Yeah. Did she say that?
Well,
no. I was just faking that. I was faking that for those 15 years.
I just think that she obviously really wants to be here.
Yeah.
And that's just... Good for her. There's a bit of innovation. You know, who knows what kind of business if she can use that kind of chutzpah, as you say, that entrepreneurial spirit, who knows what she could bring to this society?
Because, the problem is there's going to be 1 million lawsuits over this. And 1 million more people are going to be saying, I joined the terrorist group. It's just going to... It's not good. You're not being nice to the terrorists because they're going to say, is this person a real terrorist?
You think she's actually sort of bringing down the prestige of terrorism?
Of joining terrorism. They say, are you one of those people who just use this to stay in Britain?
Fake terrorists.
The group, which is indigenous people of Biafra, are going to be like just having a lot of paperwork. That's going to be their problem. Like, everyone's trying to join in because they think they get to free citizenship.
by saying this. The fact is that this country needs someone to fight for the Angles, the Saxons, and the Jews.
You learned that.
Yes.
He's got it. Okay, if anybody's doing the drinking game at home, time to take a shot. Right, let's move on to some more front pages. The Express. Kemi, we need to put our national interests first. The Metro, a game of two halves, and the Star, grown up spotted in the White House. Lewis, The Express, and Kemi Badenoch.
This is Kemi Badenoch. She says we need to put our national interests first. It's £1.70, the National Express. It's the Conservative paper.
National Express is a coach.
Yes.
Is a coach, yeah. Sorry. Is the Daily Express.
But you might take the coach to pick it up.
That's the same kind of people.
And also, they are about £1.70 so if you can get ahead of time.
Yeah.
If you can book like 6 months in advance.
It's not as cheap as Megabus or Flixbus or Flixbus. Anyway, so this is based that there's been a change in this guy. We had the thing which said any Ukrainian who wants to come to the country can come to the country. And I support that because those women are hot and they're flexible. And so what happened is a Palestinian family says, we want to come in under the Ukraine refugee scheme.
And you don't like that because you don't find them as attractive?
Or as flexible, though?
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe I do, or as flexible. I was making a joke, Josh. That was a joke.
It was a good one.
It wasn't a good one.
I thought it was good. I was good. So this was Kemi today. This was Kemi at PMQ today, and it should be pointed out, the Daily Express, obviously, they're very pro Kemi.
Yeah.
They are pretty much the only, publication that have come out and said, you did great, Kemi, because she didn't really do that great. I like her. And she didn't really smash it today. And it's like, I want the Daily Express to be my fan so that every bad gig that I have, it's like calling my mum up after the gig going, no, you really keep at it, Josh. You'll get there.
And the context...
Your mum doesn't talk like that. I can't believe she ever said that to you, Josh.
You know what she said after my first gig?
What?
That wasn't 7 minutes.
That was exactly.
Sorry,
my mother said. My mother said that should be me up there, Lewis, not you. I'm the funny one, not your sister, not your father. I'm the funny.
Both of us are very angry.
So why do you have to lie like that? Your mother sounds horrible. All right, go on.
Just getting back to the megabus. All of this, the front page, and probably later on in the newspapers, missing the other side of it, where Keir Starmer says, "Yep."
Yeah,
we're looking into it. That loophole shouldn't exist. The loophole, and I tried to read online, the loophole is a really tricky thing that they applied through this scheme knowing they weren't qualified for it, then appealed. The appeal was rejected. Then they took the appeal even higher and said everything should be viewed case by case. And they managed to get their case reviewed, whereas ordinarily they wouldn't have even been seen by a judge. So that's the loophole.
And she's kind of dropped the ball when it came to the Attorney General. I don't know if you saw that bit. And she kind of got sidetracked. It's a shame. Well,
can I just say something?
Yes,
that I want to like Kemi Badenoch. We need more support for the plan forward for the Angles, the Saxons, the Jutes, the Welsh, the Vikings.
Okay.
Yeah, do it twice. But she is. I think she's a bright woman. She's very attractive. But her political ideology is not up to what's needed.
Okay, fair enough. Well, let's finally have a little look at the Daily Star here about Trump, and we have Musk's son there picking his nose.
Yeah, he's a 3-year-old kid. Elon Musk wants to bring his son along. I know, if Elon Musk wants to do anything with anybody, you would let him do it. If he wants to say, listen, I want to come to your house and I just want to sit in your house and, maybe take the dust away, you'd let him do it. He's Elon Musk. He's amazing. I love Elon Musk.
I'd say one person in the world who doesn't have to let him do it is Trump.
Yeah. No, exactly. But you'd want the greatest guy.
They're having a great time, though, aren't they? They're probably, sitting around chatting about Diet Cokes and their favourite KFCs. They've got a lot in common. What's the name of this son?
X, I think.
He's just the X one, not the one that's all like the AE, the weird one that looks like bad teletext.
Yeah.
X. I didn't realise that's why X was rebranded, just to be named after his son.
Yeah, so it's nepotism.
Yeah.
Terrible.
One of my ex-wives is called X.
My middle name's Xavier.
That's not true.
That is very true. There were you dissing my mum. Right, that's the front pages expertly analysed, but it's the next section you'll want to stick about for. Who should we treat like Paddington Bear? And why is the UK running dangerously low on DJs? Find out in 2 minutes.
If you want your news to be straight talking...
This is a nightmare for the Conservatives again.
Down to earth.
It's not just Nottingham where this is happening, is it?
And most importantly, honest.
Hard-working, middle-class taxpayers, they'll get their book thrown at them.
Then catch me, Martin Daubney, Monday to Friday, 3 till 6 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Martin Daubney, weekdays from 3 p.m.
Well, a new poll commissioned by Channel 4 shows that more than half of Gen Z believe that Britain should be ruled by a dictator. Seriously, they actually said that. Well, 1 in 3 would want an army. What's the army in charge? 1 in 3 want martial law.
There's something on the idea of some form of strong leadership. They have looked at British politics. They have looked at the politics in which they grow up in. And they see failures at the democratic level. They see a weak, a soft, a centre that doesn't do anything, makes promises and fails to deliver them. They see nothing actually happening. And they also see a future where they have no democratic engagement because they're never going to have a house. They're never going to have a family. Why would they? Why would they be able to? So the idea of having somebody strong to come through and blow away the cobwebs of our current system, I can see that being attractive. When I grew up, I was talking to not that old men and women who had been through the war, who knew what dictatorship was. Up until the 70s, we were in the Cold War. People knew what dictatorship was. They knew people being locked up, being sent to Siberia. They knew what this meant. And I don't think anybody under the age of 34 actually has a clue. It's all the other side of the world. It's in North Korea, it's in China. It's not here, and it's not part of their lived experience. And that's a big change.
And I wonder, actually, Nigel, if a lot of these people think, I don't know, like Donald Trump's a dictator. He got elected with a huge mandate. Do they understand what dictators is? Or, actually, are young people just so listless? They're so feeble-minded, they need to be told what to do and how to live.
I certainly think that Gwen's right about there's a disillusionment with democracy and the results of it. The idea that a dictatorship is the answer to it or having the military rule over us is obvious nonsense.
GB News, the People's Channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Welcome back to Headliners. Let's start with The Guardian, Steve, and maybe it's time to rebrand, prevent, call it allow?
Yeah, do you know what? Bang on. David Amos killer had been dropped too soon by Prevent Review Finance. Yes, so it would seem. Feels like the third time we've effectively done this story tonight of, the ball being dropped. So it's the finding of this investigation into what happened when Ali Harbi Ali was referred to Prevent at school. That's got to be double points, hasn't it? If your school is like, well, you need to check this guy out, and then was dropped, and then we all know what happened, as you say, nothing was prevented.
This guy keeps on answering all the maths questions with Allah Akbar,
yeah,
whatever it is.
Put your hand down. That's not what we're asking. My favourite bit of the story, not that one should have a favourite, is where they say it's thought that he hid his radical views during his time on the scheme. Tell me they've already worked that out. If they don't presume people might hide it when they're being investigated by the Prevent people, otherwise it's like, this guy says he's not going to do anything, another 100%
No, it's actually even
rate.
worse than that, Lewis, because he hid his radical views in his one interview in McDonald's. That's where they did it. That's where they met up with him at McDonald's and they said, do you want an Egg McMuffin and, do you want to kill loads of people? Yeah, and they're like, no.
Yeah, because and here you could click the other, whatever it is, dating card, what is the thing? It's centralization. It's what this country is based on. We'll have one organization. We're going to check on people to make sure. And if that organization doesn't work, then you're in trouble.
You don't say Team World, I'm not ticking the box.
It isn't tea world. It's just what this country is all about. It has to do with the king and the fact that there was once a king.
Okay.
Yeah, click off the
this
king.
Is Prevent failed 3 times with Axel Ruda-Cabana.
The people fail when they would trust an organization like Prevent to stop this kind of thing from happening.
Well, this organization was created specifically to deal with the radicalization, particularly of Islam. They talk here about 60,000 Prevent referrals. I think we know from previous figures it's about 2/3 of that is coming from radical Islam. That's 40,000 referrals in the last decade.
And there shouldn't be Prevent. The local police could handle this.
Well, no, what I was going to say was it shouldn't be Prevent and it shouldn't be the local police. It should be going, where are these 40,000 people getting radicalised? Well, I'm thinking they're getting radicalised either by their families, through the culture, and through the mosques, through any hate. We have seen lots of evidence of hate being preached at mosques. This is where the stuff is coming from. Let's go to the source. Let's not deal with them.
Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about radical Islamists.
I know you're talking about them over here. But who are you talking about is going to do this? There's a crazy guy.
We need to start. We can talk about it. The Overton windows open and the wind's blowing through. Why can't we, instead of going, Prevent should be stopping all this, why don't we stop it in its...
Yes, I agree with you, but let's act as if there is no Prevent. What would you do if there was no Prevent? You'd call your local police up and say, this guy... Yeah, but I would move to Israel right now because the fact is Prevent is not helping anybody. It sounds like.
Yeah, what about you, Steve? What are you going to do?
I was just going to add some, context, which never makes me popular here. But before we attack Prevent all the time, we actually don't know how many people have been stopped. That's not the question. That's because if we then presume that they drop the ball on everything, we're missing it.
They're down, and it's the same with the security forces, and I'm sure there are many heroic things that they have prevented and lives that they have saved. But that's the problem is, of course, it's the one that slips through. But now we've got a bunch of people slipping through.
Yeah, and every time someone does slip through, then you do need an investigation rather than going, there's no point. No, that's the only way you'll ever improve is by seeing what mistakes were made.
Yeah, fair enough. According to The Sun, Lewis, it's time to stock up our border patrol with marmalade.
Yes, that's a reference to Paddington Bear, and which I'm not going to say we're in Paddington, but we're very familiar with Paddington. A small boat migrants must be welcomed into Britain like Paddington Bear. Ultra woke Labour MP demands. I know of Stella Creasy. I know her sister lives in my borough, I believe. Lovely lady.
With the background information there.
Well, it is because you want to know. Basically, this woman is saying.
No, I want to hear more about the sister.
The sister. This because when we were fighting what they were doing with the cemeteries and the building and parklands. I'm an activist, really. I was an activist. But do you know that the sun is £1 tomorrow? It's very, very cheap.
Okay.
Very cheap.
But
anyway, so what she's saying is we should be nicer to illegal immigrants. That Paddington Bear.
Welcome them all like we welcome Paddington Bear.
Right, but he wasn't welcome.
What's that, a big hug, sort of ruffle on the top of the head?
But he didn't get a passport, Paddington Bear. Did he get a passport?
I love the last line in the whole article is Paddington Bear arrived in the UK illegally.
Yeah, well, for me, that is the point of the story, that she's trying to say, look, these new restrictions would stop Paddington coming over here. I'm sat there going, wait a minute, he didn't have a valid asylum case. He was effectively an economic migrant and also fictional and a bear. Many reasons that you don't get a passport.
Did he get any also? No, he never got a job. He was living off that family.
Yeah.
And he was on a high-carb diet, according to what you said before. He was eating marmalade.
Yeah, marmalade and sandwiches and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's super high-carb.
That's the least of his crimes.
And a lot of times that's what the behavioural problems come from.
Do you think we should treat all illegal immigrants like fictional characters like Danger Mouse?
Danger Mouse, we want to stay. Obviously, we would be in trouble without Danger Mouse. Penfold can do one. What an absolute waste of space.
Yeah. I think I sort of talked about this a few years ago, and the problem is it's what you think of when you think of the small boats. Now, I used to think of them as just full of women and children. And then you go, well, these people are running away from wars and escaping some of the worst situations in the world. And you have empathy, of course you do, for that. And I think that's what a lot of people do think when they think of that. When you start seeing more video footage of the actual boats, you see, it's a lot of blokes
who've paid a lot of money to come here. And the reason they're taking the boats is if they came in through an airport, they wouldn't have gotten into the country. They wouldn't have been allowed to board the plane because they didn't have the correct paperwork.
I think Paddington came through an airport, didn't he?
I don't know. Stop taking this seriously. The point is that the people on the boats, they're taking the boats because they'll be then treated as a illegal.
By the way, the government's finally getting a little bit strong. They're saying if you come over illegally, you will never get UK citizenship. That's actually a big deal. People say, oh, but like I saw earlier, Mr. Farage, as we have to call him here,
sir.
Yes. But he was saying that, well, really, does it matter now? And I think, well, it does, because then it's a lot easier to kick people, even if they get the right to the abode. Right. They're a UK citizen, it's hard to then kick somebody out. But if they just have right to abode, I believe it's probably a bit easier. But the other thing that's interesting that I've always said, how are people ever going to do stuff? Like, what legal stuff are these governments going to do to actually, instead of Rwanda? And they've got some things here. Basically, if people don't take back people from the country of source and assuming it's a safe country, then they're talking now about doing sanctions. They're talking about visa shutouts. Now, this is the first time I've ever heard of this.
Of something.
These
Meanwhile,
steps, that makes sense.
what is Donald Trump doing? Donald Trump is doing 25%. Tariffs.
Yeah, but we don't have that.
No, we're not
that wouldn't work
selling
with us at all. OK, The Independent identifies a new loophole for anyone wanting to come to the UK, Steve. Just sling some banging drum and bass on the ones and twos.
Yep, dog groomers, and that means people who, like, brush dogs, not kind of online persuading dogs that they're up for it. And DJs eligible for skilled worker visas under post-Brexit rules. New analysis shows that 300 UK visas were granted for animal care service occupations. This is something we definitely could have homegrown talent to walk a dog. Although, for DJs, as a radio DJ myself, who does an afternoon show, Time 107.5. A lot of people who listen to that tune into this. I'd just like to say it is a high-skill job. You don't know how difficult it is to say, great song by Take That, on the way next. And things like, let's take the latest on the roads.
So it's radio DJs, not I'm thinking club DJs.
I'm going for the radio DJs. We're the high-skilled ones. Anyone can go like...
Am I a DJ? And for my show on Resonance FM.
Do you play any songs?
104.4.
Play any songs?
No.
Do you throw forward to the weather?
No.
Do you do a hook and tease into the ad break? Then you're not a DJ, man.
I'm not a DJ.
I'm a DJ on Free Speech Nation Sundays.
Yeah. No, you're not a DJ.
That doesn't work at all. But the story is about how we basically let in 1 million people post-Brexit, even though Brexit was supposedly about controlling the borders, and we just threw open the doors and we let in a bunch of people for over some ridiculous visa schemes.
Can I do the one where I get really angry? We let in homeopaths. What? Come on, we can grow our own con men. And I'm willing to call them con men, because if ever I get poisoned by a homeopath, it'll be watered down so much I'll walk it off.
Also, costume interpreters, which are people who dress up as visitors at museums.
Well, I was invited into this country because I was willing to do a job that no British person would do, which was marry my wife.
Yeah.
You're going to say that, right. Next section, we have some far-right Nazis in the gym and some Islamist Nazis in the hospital. Which one will Lewis try to antagonise the least? Find out in 2.
Hey, evening. Welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. We'll keep out a lot of cloud tomorrow, and if anything, for many of us feeling a little bit colder, but we should see maybe a few more sunny spells, particularly in parts of the west. We've still got easterly winds with high pressure out east, low pressure out west, and the UK kind of in this no man's land in between. The cloud thick enough for a little bit of drizzle here and there over parts of central and eastern England through the night, but most places staying dry. Clear skies across western Scotland will allow a frost here, and also some frost is likely over northwest England, maybe West Wales, where we do have also some breaks in the cloud. Temperatures elsewhere where it's cloudy, mostly holding up at 2 or 3 Celsius. Still quite breezy on some of these North Sea coasts, but the winds generally a little lighter than they have been through the day today. And as I mentioned, I'm a bit more optimistic for some brighter skies tomorrow. Again, parts of southwest England, West Wales, but even further east, it may brighten up at times. Quite cloudy again for northeast England, eastern Scotland, maybe a few breaks in the cloud for Northern Ireland. Certainly some good breaks in the cloud across western Scotland, so some sunny spells here again, but it does of course mean overnight we'll see that frost forming. So a chilly start as we go through the day. Not a great deal of change, probably not as many light showers as today, but still the odd one here and there over the Midlands, eastern England. The winds will pick up in the southwest as we go through the day, as we'll start to see cloud thickening here. But generally, further east, the wind's a little lighter than today. But if anything, it's going to be colder. Temperatures only 4 or 5 degrees Celsius. We'll have a frost again, where we've got clear skies through Thursday night into Friday morning. Thicker cloud further west. Some drizzly rain at times for West Wales, Devon, Cornwall and Northern Ireland. Many eastern and central parts dry. But again, a better chance of some breaks in the clouds. Still on the chilly side, however, slowly turning a little milder as we head through into the weekend. Bye for now.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, Will, please bring us up to date. Or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Camilla Tominey, for a frank and honest discussion with those in power that cuts through the spin and gets to the heart of the issues shaping our nation.
You haven't confirmed that you want to stand as leader, but you haven't ruled it out either.
This report basically says that he's not fit to stand trial. Is he indecisive? Incompetent? I deliver the dose of reality Westminster needs. That's the Camilla Tominey Show at 9:30 every Sunday on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Was best.
Welcome back to Headliners. Let's start with Thursday's Guardian, Lewis, and news for anyone potentially facing any TQ plus issues in the courts.
Yes, exactly. And we shouldn't be discussing this because you're not meant to be discussing this. But
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about either. Anyway, sacking of Christian school worker over posts about LGBTQ plus lessons unlawful.
Make sure you get the plus in.
Court ruled. This is a woman who said something and she was fired because she was a Christian and because everybody because we're in a DEI, IDI, equity world, and she was fired, and then she's basically appealed and she's won. Does that make it a good thing that she's won? It's taken 6 years now. It's in the 6th year. So it's not a good thing. It's a bad thing.
No, she has seen it through. So essentially, she was working at a secondary school. She was a pastoral administrator at a secondary school in Gloucestershire. In 2018, she wrote a couple of disparaging... Well, actually, it wasn't even disparaging necessarily. It was more just that she was questioning some of the... stuff that was being implemented in terms of gender identity, which we have seen, and there's plenty of evidence, and I've seen it for myself with my own children, where they have come into schools to brainwash kids that there are 100 sexes and things like non-binary, things that aren't real.
No genders, because there can be 100 genders.
Well, yeah, of course, but it's imaginary is the point. But they're presenting it as fact to a bunch of little kids.
And that's what they're trying to confuse
people. And she spoke about it, but she also said, it has to be said at the same time, she's a Christian, and she also said she doesn't believe that gay marriage is on a par with heterosexual marriage. I don't agree with that.
In sexual fun it is. In sexual fun it can be. It can be.
Really, you think heterosexual... What, homosexual... No, I think that you could say that homosexual would be better than a gay marriage, than a straight marriage. So you think it's better than a straight marriage? I could see it being...
No, I'm saying it could be. I was making a joke.
Anyway, yes, but...
That was a joke.
The point is that she has views that I agree with and views that I don't agree with. Yeah. She has free speech. This was in a private Facebook group, yet she lost her job for it and has had to go through all different layers of different courts to get to be exonerated.
And I think the things that the start of the story never really gets into is that the original complaint wasn't about what was said, it was about damaging the reputation of the school. Yeah. And the reason that doesn't hold up, and sadly it took this many levels of appeal to realise it doesn't hold up, she never did it at work and it was done on a private Facebook thing. Yeah. So actually, how much reputational damage could happen from this? Not enough to warrant dismissal, but it took too long to find that.
Well, also it says a spokesperson for Stonewall said you have to tackle discriminatory environments for both students and staff. Well, if she, as you say, if it's a personal opinion and it's nothing, if she had said it to some kid whose parents are gay and in a relationship, I would be that's out of order, fire her. But this is not that.
Or even if you do, even in that case, step one is written warning or something, isn't it? It's not straight to dismissal, and that's another reason why it eventually fell down. The first response was, "You've now been removed from your job for a thing we found on Facebook."
No, the reason it fell down is because Donald Trump is here, and all this stuff is going away.
Well, this has been ongoing for a long time, and I actually think
Donald Trump wasn't there.
We were ahead of the curve over here.
Yeah, but it happened this year because Donald Trump has been around.
It's happening anyway. Steve, the Star has the best workout to get that swastika on the arm really bulging.
You can buy them online these days, can't you? UK gang hides as fitness club while secretly building fighting militia for race war. This is so clever, because I'll tell you one place I'm never going to see what's on the inside of that: a fitness club. Yeah. They can hide in plain sight. But a white supremacy network hiding as a fitness club with more than 100 members has been exposed in an undercover investigation by ITN News. To be fair, good quality journalism, because anyone who goes to a gym regularly looks like a bit of a Nazi, doesn't it? So how do you manage to work out which ones are the gym Nazis and which ones are the Nazis? They've done this. It's Active Club England. We're following blueprints established by neo-Nazi networks in Europe to recruit members. I don't get from the story whether it's being shut down now or whether this is now like their new USP, because people go through the dirty mudder ones, or whatever those things are called, and then there's the military workouts. We've all been through the kettlebell phase. At some point, someone will be interested in the far-right workout.
I think anybody who does any level of exercise is a Nazi.
Oh, yeah.
I think just to be safe, we need to...
They did march well. So, you know...
Oh, you think that could be... Yeah, they're probably, like, lots of exercise. Yeah. Lewis, what do you think about this? Nazis, they have to bench press or do 60 kilograms, do 110 kilograms deadlift.
But you think...
Well,
otherwise they get kicked out. They don't get to be a Nazi anymore.
Yeah, I don't even know how to... This is so insane. The basis of this. Who's going to fight for the Angles, the Saxons, the Jutes, the Normans, the Welsh? Who's going to fight for these people? Here's a group of people.
Are you defending Nazis, Lewis?
Yes.
You're defending Nazis.
And even Nigerians who've been in the country for over 25 years. But not somebody needs to fight for them. Somebody needs to fight for the citizens.
So you think... So
are
Lewis,
they Nazis?
Yeah, they're Nazis. Lewis, this is what they say. Active Club England is a fraternal organisation. We unapologetically for the English people and our continued existence in our ancestral homelands. They don't want anybody...
Is that a Nazi? How could that be Nazis?
They're white supremacists. They're not saying they're the Jutes.
There's someone who is fighting for the Angles, the Saxons, and the Jutes. And I don't know these people.
And only them, Lewis.
Yes.
Only them.
And you go to the other side, and there's groups of people who are fighting for only those only thing. I refuse to... I'm not going...
Yeah, well, can't we just have people in the middle who just want everybody to get along?
No, that's how you lose. There's a war going on. I said this 3 years ago when I first joined this station. There is a war going on. Who's going to fight for his team? Not even my team. And
yeah, you're not.
Maybe
no,
you
do understand that these people would want us gone.
No, I don't think that they would.
Yes, they definitely would.
Is a slur on them. I think I don't.
Look, there's Zeke hiding all over the place. They're talking about ancestral homelands. Of course, they're Nazis. They are proper
ancestral
Nazis.
homelands. What are the Palestinians doing? They're talking about ancestral homelands. What is this woman in Nigeria doing? Talking about ancestral homelands. Can't we? And I'm pointing.
Not on my team.
Yes, I'm pointing for your team.
Let me just help you. Nazis don't like Jews. Okay. Let me just help you out.
You know what it is? Yeah. But why are these people? Do these people not like Jews?
Yes.
There is some video.
A lot of these people support...
If they're Zeke Eiling, I suspect they don't like Jews.
There's some footage where they were doing the Roman salute, which just shows how much they like Europeans.
Yeah.
So maybe they changed.
I'm not going to be... You know what? This is good for you lefty people. I'm bringing balance, and I'm supporting the people who are fighting for the ancestral homeland of this country.
We're trying to avoid any more Ofcom issues at the moment.
Yeah. Well, I'm not...
All right, Mel next, Lewis, and maybe the NHS isn't so bad after all.
I'm not sure I don't like Nazis. I don't like Nazis. But you know what? They're just trying to beat down...
Do you know that people might be watching the show tonight just for the first time going, what's this thing going on here? Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I think? I think you're jealous. That's what I think. I think you don't... Yeah, I think you're like, why is he getting all that? That's what you want to get on some of that action.
Do you want to know something, Josh? Okay.
I think technically you're the least complained about to Ofcom out of the
because people see what I'm saying. Because I'm not speaking for myself in this case. Maybe I'm not even my kids, but I'm speaking for maybe my kids.
You're speaking for the Nazis. Good.
I'm speaking for British people.
Right, can we do the Islamist Nazis in Australia, please?
Yeah. I say I'm like an American.
Do you like these Nazis?
Which are the Nazis?
These are the Nazis in Australia and the nurses.
Hospital starts. I don't want. This is one of your stories, Josh. You love these stories. People know people. This is two people who hate. They hate Jews, but they hate Israelis. But they're the same thing.
They also do say Jews as well later.
Then they hate Jews. Okay, people hate Jews. Let's not do any more of these stories, because if you don't know that there are lots of people who hate Jews.
Do you think that more people will hate Jews after watching you and I for the last 40 minutes?
After you, and then they think, wait a second,
So your thing about sort of defending the Nazis in the gyms was like a kind of like, hey, I'm okay, is what you're trying to say. You're trying to win them over.
No, I believe that people, freedom of speech, and I believe people should be allowed to fight for their home.
Shouldn't you be more upset about this? Because these were healthcare workers, and you spend a lot of time badgering those. So surely you want people who are medically trained to listen to you rather than just hate you.
No, because people who are medically trained know nothing, and this is a proof that they know nothing.
I find this slightly terrifying, well, more than terrifying, and the reality is that we have also Islamists who work in the NHS, lots of people with very similar views, and the government doesn't seem to be doing anything about that.
Okay, just check in really quickly. My favourite thing at the end of the story, the female nurse who's in the clip says she now suffers from anxiety.
Oh, poor her. Last station to go. Make sure you stick around to find out whether the World Cup 2034 will be fun and what's the best way you can boost productivity in the workplace. Find out in 2.
You're looking happy.
Well, the forecast looks good.
So you've sorted the travel insurance then?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Heavy showers and thunderstorms affecting the Adriatic coastline, but elsewhere it should be mostly settled. These heavy showers could produce quite a lot of rain, particularly across southern parts of Croatia, Albania and parts of Greece. Some thunder and lightning mixed in with those too. But as we move our way further west across the Mediterranean, it's largely dominated by high pressure, so largely settled, particularly for Madeira and Tenerife, where we're likely to see the best of the sunshine. Showers continuing for a time before becoming more settled.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
Apparently in 1991, I took out an insurance on my computer, which I have no recollection of at all. But recently, I've had a foreign voice ring me and say, unless I pay the £1,000 immediately, they'll take it out of my bank account.
They wouldn't have access to your bank account.
No, they have no access to my bank account. And what you should do, to begin with, you feel frightened. And you think, my God, £1,000 coming up, what do I do? And then Neil, my partner, said, just ignore it. And that's what you've got to do. But they are persistent.
Threatening as well.
And we changed we changed the number and everything. And still, they managed to get through to you. And we told the bank not to accept any £1,000 checks, something like that. But it is awful. But I say to your viewers and listeners, please, please ignore these phone calls.
Yes.
Even if at the end of the day it's true and they do come and collect £1,000 legally, don't do anything about it. Just ignore it.
Yeah. I think there's an organisation you can phone which is anti-scammer.
Is there?
They can do a lot of this stuff for you. I'm no help to you because I don't know what it is.
Well, I might look into that because it is worrying, you know, to begin with, and then they are so persistent.
Yeah.
That is the thing.
My mum had a similar thing the other day, and this is a good tip to remember. And her bank rang her up and said it was her bank, and they needed to get into her account immediately because someone had hacked her account and they were taking her money out. So it's automatically the panic.
Yeah.
You're losing money.
Yeah.
And they said, just share the one-time password that's about to come to your phone. And at that point, she went, no, you should never share your one-time password.
No.
Anybody asks you to do that, it's a scam.
No,
phone
exactly.
down.
Yeah.
So just a good one to remember.
Yeah.
GB News, the People's Channel.
This is Britain's newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
I'm Christopher Hope. From pop stars to politicians, I'll interview anybody
in a pub who's got a political opinion. Join me every Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube or gbnews.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. This is GB News, the People's Channel.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel. And as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/yoursay. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
Welcome back to Headliners, where Thursday's Guardian has the Saudi ambassador endorsing drugs instead.
I guess so. Saudi ambassador tells World Cup fans, you can have fun without alcohol. I'm imagining he's saying like that. Hey, guys, come on.
Just smoke a bit of weed.
Well, maybe that's not the direction he's going in.
Are we allowed to say that? Maybe I'm not. Maybe
I don't think he's allowed to say that.
Maybe I'm not allowed to say that either. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, not yet. It's not allowed over, is it?
He doesn't believe that either.
Well, so he's got this vibe of like, hey, you don't need alcohol to have a good time. Like, all right, Jermaine Stewart, calm yourself down. And that's a reference not everyone will get, but you will if you listen to afternoon shows with Stephen Allen. We play songs like that. Great song on the way next.
We don't need any foreign DJs in this when we've got Steve Allen here.
God, I could throw forward to a classic.
I mean, I don't want to sound like I belong to an active gym or anything.
You don't look like you belong to an active gym. So the ambassador was talking about how much fun you can have there with the football, but you won't be able to drink. And he said basically you can plenty of fun can be had without alcohol. Not if you're a Millwall fan. I don't know enough about football to realise if that's a good team to pick on, but it feels like it should be. He's also said that they will be welcoming everyone. You'll like this, Josh. We will welcome everyone when he was asked to address the safety of LGBTQ+ people.
You mean everyone?
And that will be well, list who you think they are. Maybe not right now. But I imagine that's as true as the statement, you don't need to have a drink to watch football. So we'll see how it turns out. It says homosexuality is illegal in Saudi Arabia. People can be imprisoned for promoting the vice and practice of it, but I won't be drinking, so I won't be getting into that either.
Yeah, this is... there's a few lines that we're going to be hearing a lot until the 2034 World Cup. The first one is, any time that he's asked about the LGB and the TQIA+, separate, he'll just be like, oh, we welcome everyone. That'll be the default answer.
To our prison?
Yeah, exactly. And this other one about the alcohol, he's got a good line. I think a comic might have written this for him. Rather like our weather, it's a dry country. So he's obviously going to be repeating that over and over again.
So some gin, so let us have that.
Oh, yeah,
can we talk about what the real issue here?
Please, the king.
The king. The fact is...
Globalism.
The fact is, his group of people, his tribe in Saudi Arabia... The Saudi tribe is a very small amount. There's lots of people who aren't his crowd, and they think that he has not done a great job in protecting what it means to be a Muslim.
Do you think they need to open some more gyms?
So he is saying to his own people, he has to say this, we're letting the dirty foreigner into the country, but we're not going to let him do what
Normans.
Whatever. We let the Normans in. And it's the same way during the Battle of Kuwait, when they fought over Kuwait, that the American troops landed in Saudi Arabia, and there was a lot of criticism. How could you let Saudi Arabia, which is not even its name, it's Arabia, but it's like Windsor, Britain. So he has to say that. He doesn't believe that.
OK, thank you very much, Lewis Schaefer. The show is nearly over. Let's take another quick look at Thursday's front pages. The Guardian, Trump says he has opened talks with Putin to end war in Ukraine. Yeah, we had a bunch more stories to do, but we wanted to...
Oh, no, it's all right.
Times, Trump and Putin start Ukraine peace talks. Telegraph, join a terror group to stay in the UK. The Express, we need to put our national interest first. Metro, a game of two halves. The Star, grown-up spotted in the White House. That is it for tonight's show. Thank you very much to my guests, Steve and Lewis. I'm going to be back tomorrow night, maybe, joined by Nick Dixon and Jonathan Cogan. And if you're watching at 5 p.m, then please stay tuned for breakfast. Bye.
There will be a light breeze in the morning, leading to a warm front. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Evening. Welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. We'll keep a lot of cloud tomorrow, and if anything, for many of us feeling a little bit colder, but we should see maybe a few more sunny spells, particularly in parts of the west. We've still got easterly winds with high pressure out east, low pressure out west, and the UK kind of in this no man's land in between. The cloud thick enough for a little bit of drizzle here and there over parts of central and eastern England through the night, but most places staying dry. Clear skies across western Scotland will allow a frost here, and also some frost is likely over northwest England, maybe West Wales, where we do have also some breaks in the cloud. Temperatures elsewhere where it's cloudy, mostly holding up at 2 or 3 Celsius. Still quite breezy on some of these North Sea coasts, but the winds generally a little lighter than they have been through the day today. And as I mentioned, I'm a bit more optimistic for some brighter skies tomorrow. Again, parts of southwest England, West Wales, but even further east, it may brighten up at times. Quite cloudy again for northeast England, eastern Scotland. Maybe a few breaks in the cloud for Northern Ireland. Certainly some good breaks in the cloud across western Scotland. So some sunny spells here again, but it does, of course, mean overnight we'll see that frost forming. So a chilly start as we go through the day. Not a great deal of change. Probably not as many light showers as today, but still the odd one here and there over the Midlands, eastern England. The winds will pick up in the southwest as we go through the day, as we'll start to see cloud thickening here. But generally, further east, the wind's a little lighter than today. But if anything, it's going to be colder. Temperatures only 4 or 5 degrees Celsius. We'll have a frost again, where we've got clear skies through Thursday night into Friday morning. Thicker cloud further west. Some drizzly rain at times for West Wales, Devon, Cornwall and Northern Ireland. Many eastern and central parts dry. But again, a better chance of some breaks in the cloud. Still on the chilly side, however, slowly turning a little milder as we head through into the weekend. Bye for now.
We can expect clear skies, leading to a light and warm day ahead. Lovely. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
We're doubling your chances to win in our latest Great British giveaway, with 2 fabulous prize bundles up for grabs. There's 2 lots of a totally tax-free £10,000 in cash. You'll also receive a brand new iPhone 16, along with £500 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite store. And the best news is 2 lucky winners are going to win. For another chance to win, text cash to 63232. 1 entry costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63232. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start from just £2. Call 0903 681 3232. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB11 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only.